Okay, so two terms that you'll run into quite a bit are front end and back end in reference to web development, different roles, different portions of the stack, which we haven't even covered the term stack. But for now, I just want to really quickly define those terms and explain why they matter or why there's a distinction. So we talked about this general process. You ask for a web page via an HTTP request, even if we don't consciously make that request. Our browser sends an HTTP request for us. A server then has the task of responding with an HTTP response. But it's not that simple. There's code that has to run on the server itself to figure out what to respond with. And this is where the term front end and back end, or the terms, come in. So I like to kind of think of it or picture it as going to a restaurant where we've got a kitchen and then we've got the front of house where our customers sit. They are two separate locations, but they are both super critical to the restaurant succeeding, or the restaurant being a restaurant. So to help clarify what I mean, here's another diagram. Once again, I'm going to Google in this diagram and I'm searching for something. Silky chickens, the best type of chickens. Not for eating, but the best type of chickens for looking. They're very cute. So when I send that request, a request is sent off, it hits Google's servers at some point. Google has to do some work. It needs to figure out, well, what are the search results? How do I rank them? How many are there? How many pages do I need to make? What about the ads? Who's asking for this? Oh, it's cold. So let me put some ads about, chicken feed and, whatever else they want to try and sell me. A page has to be constructed first. So there's a lot of logic that goes into figuring out who I am, what do I want, what do I have permission to view, am I logged in? All of that code, that's all happening on Google's servers before it even sends anything back to me. So that's the back end. That's the kitchen, if you will, in a restaurant, constructing the response. Then it sends back a response to me in the form of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So that code that it sends back runs in my browser. And that is all client-side or front-end code, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So the stuff that happens over here could be one of any, well, not any language, but lots of different languages, Python, C, Java, as you'll learn, and it's kind of confusing. We can also use JavaScript over here on the server side. There are lots and lots of different back-end languages or server-side languages, but there's only 3 tools that every web page is constructed of, or at most 3 tools: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So front-end development focuses on these tools, the stuff that runs in the browser, and back-end development focuses on the stuff that runs on a server, not in the browser. So they're connected, and in this course, we will be working with both sides of this equation. We start off understanding these 3, and then we focus on creating servers and connecting to databases and handling requests and responding and all of that fun stuff. And I think I have one more slide. There we go. The final piece of the puzzle is that the response is sent back, our browser receives it, and it displays it. So there's work that goes in on both sides of this dotted line, and people spend their whole lives, their whole careers, focused on often just one small piece of back-end code or one small portion of front-end. So I'm showing this to you now just to give you an overview of the sort of flow, the process, how these pieces fit together, but I don't want to give you the impression that you're going to be expected to know every single piece of this massive puzzle. In the next video, we'll talk a little bit more about HTML, CSS, and JavaScript and what they each do before we start learning them. So that's coming up.